This is How's It Gonna Be by Third Eye Blind. Classic song from the 90s. Great album, actually, from the 90s also, late 90s. Figured it'd be a good way to start today's episode since, for whatever reason, I was looking at, well, actually, not for whatever reason, but I've been doing a 366 films, a film a day thing on Facebook where I pick a film a day and put the trailer on Facebook. And today's was Can't Hardly Wait, and show the trailer for each one of them. And the trailer had that song in it and just made me reflect back to the old late 90s before everything went to hell in a handbasket. And yeah, things were rolling good and stuff like that. But now here we are in June 27th. That's right, 7 days after my birthday, June 27th, 2020. This is Dylan Knows. Close. There we go. This is Dylan Knows, episode 355, Bleaching Bat Nipples. We'll see what all that's about in a few minutes as we talk about what's going on today. Feeling myself really this whole week. My stomach has been getting upset again. My head has been constantly hurting. I had to switch my eyeglasses again. My reading glasses, these are now a new set that I have that are higher, and I don't think they're working that much either. I feel run down and worn up. My arm hurts periodically, but not all the time. My back is actually it's a little bit of a kink there now. So getting old sucks. I mean, it's been 7 days. I'm 47 days being 47 years old, and all this stuff starts happening to me. And on top of that, also, looks like our cat might be getting close to the end of her life as well. And that would just put an absolute stamp on 2020. It would make it one of the worst years ever. She has been very lethargic and hasn't really been doing much, and just seems to be wandering around the house and has been trying to go to the bathroom in different places, but nothing comes out. But then we got her some litter boxes, and she's been going to the bathroom okay. Some new ones upstairs, and we found stuff on the floor, stuff like that also, and she stinks because we think there's poop stains and stuff on her. But I don't know. It's just and we're going away on vacation on Monday for a week, so I'm worried about that also. Maybe that's one of the things I'm thinking about also. I don't want to put her in a kennel because I want her to be comfortable in her house and not be trapped up in a kennel. And we're going to have somebody looking on her, but still, she's slept with us last night on the bed, which is really, really weird. So it made me not have really good sleep either, but I don't know, just not feeling myself. So if I'm a little low energy, that's the reason why. It's 9:51 on a Saturday. Next Saturday is July 4th. So hopefully I'll be a bit more upbeat for that because I'll be just coming back from vacation. And the holiday, and I always seem to do really well on holidays. I should be doing my show on July 4th because there's going to be nothing going on July 4th. Usually go to my uncle's house and have our July 4th party because of that pandemic that we have going on now. Everyone's canceling out, so that makes sense. It's for the best, really. So what else is going on this week? More racism, more idiot stuff from the White House. Something I didn't know about, the Alcatraz, the only criminals who supposedly escaped from Alcatraz. One of them possibly popped up 2 years ago. The more movie change dates, Michael Keaton news, which could be interesting. Joel Schumacher passed away. That's the one of the bat nipple things. We'll talk a little bit about his career. We also have the first ever ninja studies graduate from Japan. We also have a Richard Simmons doll. We have bleaching your eyes to change the color. Yeah, I know. Bronies make an appearance on the show. The Sahara dust storm has hit America. Walking sharks and beaver sharks. Interesting little things going on there. Blumhouse in the news again. More comic book people acting badly. Dennis Nedry in the news. What is that? The lost colony may have been discovered down in Hatteras. Keanu Reeves continues to show how great he is. Winona Riders all over the place this week. Cobra Kai has a new home. Haunted Drive-Ins. Pokemon Go Battle League and Bug Event going on. A new Pokemon game, which not as excited as I thought it would be. Jurassic Park is #1 at the movies again. We'll explain how that happened. David Lynch is proud of all of his movies except for one. We'll let you know which one that one is. Mel Gibson is back in the news again. How do baby owls sleep? You'll find out. Kangaroo Jack in the news. Hellstorm, Alpha Flight, nationwide national fireworks going on all over the place, and Firecracker Drink from Starbucks. Red, white, and blue donuts from Krispy Kreme. Tom Petty's in the news. Trailers. What's going on with Dl Hughley? Is that a monkey flying a drone? And more people getting sick from the pandemic. So, and vacation. So we talked about a little bit of vacation. We're going to be going on a camping trip, which, to be honest, I'm not totally excited about. But it's taking the place of this week. If everything was going to be going normal, the kids and my wife would be at scout camp for the whole week, and I'd have the place to myself. I would have worked for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, then I would take Wednesday, Thursday off, and then Friday we were already going to have off because it's the day before 4th of July, since 4th of July is on a Saturday, so we get a 3-day weekend. So I'd have a 5 watching movies, reading comics, reading books. Sorry, my connection was unstable again. But instead, they decided that they wanted to go camping for a vacation. My wife deserves it. She's an essential employee, so she hasn't stopped working since basically, I don't even remember the last time she had a day off, February maybe. So she's been working constantly, so she needs a day off, some vacation time. So I'm okay with going that, and I'm always, down to spending time with my kids. This year we'll be going with a bunch of friends, so that'll be good. Keep the kids off, do their own thing, and we'll be right outside of Ocean City, Maryland, so we can go into Ocean City and do Ocean City stuff if we want to. And so we'll see what happens. There's a water park, amusement park right nearby. It's called Frontier Town. It's right out in Berlin, Maryland, right outside of Ocean City. So my stepmother apparently went there a lot with my stepbrother when he was younger, so she knows all about it. So that's pretty cool. So we'll see what happens. So we'll get that out of the way. Hopefully, July 1st is coming up. That's when they extended my unemployment benefits. I have to remind my woman at work to extend them more because there doesn't appear to be any time soon that I'll be coming into work. Hopefully, maybe by September. But the way things are going with the pandemic right now, particularly what Florida, Arizona, and Texas are doing because they're stupid. They opened way too early, didn't pay attention to how things are going, and their numbers have been spiking. As a matter of fact, Florida's had 18,000 cases in 2 days, so that's not great. And Texas, so they're dialing back what they've been doing. They had opened up the beaches and bars, stuff like that. They shut the bars and the beaches back down again. So can come up here and spread a new. Oh God, come on, stop being unstable. Sorry, just got to wait. Hopefully this won't be all day. Thank you. So we'll hopefully see about that. So let's run through this again, see if I can get this done in an hour like I did yesterday. Earthquake hits Tulsa, Oklahoma, a day after that asshole had his week rally where nobody showed up, hardly. There was 2,000 people there, I think, in a 30,000 person arena. But an earthquake hit Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he was at the day before. So maybe that's perhaps a sign from above. As we're sitting here talking on the 27th of June, obviously, last week we were talking about the possibility that the world was going to end on Sunday the 21st. It didn't, obviously, but we all knew that anyway. So, hey, we'll wait to see when the next day at the end of the world is coming. So we'll see what happens. If it's this year anyway, but maybe not right now. A noose was found in a garage stall of a black NASCAR driver named Bubba Wallace. The FBI investigators like, oh, it's always been there that way. No, that's bullshit. It was a noose. Someone was threatening them, and NASCAR, which has always been fairly, racially twinged because it was a Southern thing. They spoke out about the Confederate flag, and they spoke out about this. So maybe they're a bit more enlightened than most people are. So congratulations to them. Baseball has a new opening day. It's going to be July 24th. The commissioner sort of is forcing a 60-game season. with opening day being on July 24th. So baseball is coming, so we'll see how that all plays out. They're going to start coming back really soon, stuff like that. NFL, I'll find it when I find it again. NFL football's training camp is going to be, so far as we know, is going to be on time. The NBA has their schedule set. They start July 30th, I believe, or maybe the 29th. So they have their schedule set up for basketball as well for the first set of games. So we got that going up. So sports is going to be coming in about 1 month. So all you sports fanatics out there can sit back, relax, and enjoy stuff. Hockey hasn't talked about when they're going to be opening up just yet, but they are. So we'll be seeing a schedule for hockey really soon. I'm certain of that as well. And then football, of course, is still on target to play all their games this year and have training camp. The only changes are the Hall of Fame game is being canceled. The Hall of Fame celebration stuff is going to be postponed, and they're cutting some preseason games. So that'll help out a lot too. The Simpsons are no longer going to have white actors voice characters of color. So they decide to do that. I mean, I'm fine with that. There are people on Facebook who were screaming, "Oh, what's going on? What's all going to change? Blah, blah, blah." They're just uneducated dumbasses. So that's all I need to say about that. So we got that. So good on that. The Archbishop of Canterbury says portrayals of Jesus as white should be reconsidered. He's the first religious person to come out and say, maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't depict him as white, since, in all honesty, he probably isn't. But he's the first religious leader to say something about that. So we'll see if that's going to lead to anything. Because Florida had those spikes of 18,000 over 2 days, Disneyland and Disney World, because California's already got their own problems as well, have decided that they're going to actually push their opening a little bit later. It was originally going to be mid-July. Now it's going to probably be closer to end July, early August. So Disneyland and Disney World are remaining shut down for the time being. It seems like every week there's some new movie dates moving around, but again, due to the fact that things were looking up last week. I was telling you that the movie theaters were talking about opening in mid-July, and that Tenet was going to show up. It's going to be the first movie July 31st. With Mulan was still scheduled for July 24th. So we all thought, okay, this will be good. Now get a couple of weeks to get the kinks out, and then new movies will come up. Nope, because of these stupid spikes that happened in Florida and Texas and Arizona. Thanks, guys. Again, the movie companies have gotten scared again because these are big budget films. They put a lot of money into it, and if it doesn't make a lot of money, they're not going to recoup any money. They want to try to make as much money as they can. So they don't know how people are going to react to it. So people are going to come out or not. So they've moved everything back further. So Tenet, which was July 31st, is now going to be August 12th. Mulan was moved from July 24th to August 21st. Bill and Ted Face the Music is jumping to August 28th. And Without Remorse, the Michael B. Jordan adaptation of the Tom Clancy novel that was scheduled to be in October has been shifted to February 26th, 2021, because Wonder Woman 1984 has taken the October slot that Without Remorse was going to be at. So there's that. Big news in the world of geekdom. Michael Keaton is considered to be the best, if not one of the best Batmans out there. He was the first Batman, technically big budget movie because Adam West did it for the TV show, and he had a movie also, but it wasn't big budget. This is the first big budget Batman, so Michael Keaton is the first one. He apparently has been asked to return for the Ezra Miller Flash movie, which is going to be an adaptation of Flashpoint, which honestly is kind of stupid when you're doing a standalone Flash movie and you're doing a massive event like Flashpoint that has a lot to do with DC history and stuff like that. it doesn't make sense to me, but no, whatever. But Michael Keaton is going to supposedly pop up as Bruce Wayne Batman. And also there's talk that he will become like the Nick Fury of the DC universe and is going to be signed for multiple movies to pop up periodically as Bruce Wayne Batman sort of thing. So huzzah, Michael Keaton is back on the DC radar, and he's agreed to it. I like Michael Keaton, so hey, why not? It's a good idea. Part of my title, Bleaching Bat Nipples, talks about this. The new teen trend right now on TikTok is bleaching your eyes to change the color. Yes, these people are as stupid as they sound. So someone told them if you bleach your eyes with bleach, your eyes will change color. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. But these people are putting bleach on their eyes, which is hugely dangerous. It's an abrasive substance, could burn your eyes and cause you to lose sight. So please don't bleach your eyes. And I hate to have to say this. Don't bleach your eyes, please. Why do I even have to say this? Use some common sense, you dumb. I can't say the F word. What do celebrities do when they're in quarantine also? Well, one of them decided, hey, we're going to remake The Princess Bride, but at home. And he reached out to a bunch of celebrities and even got Rob Reiner, who is the original director of The Princess Bride, to have a part in it as well, and brought Fred Savage back as well. Basically what they're going to do is he reached out to a bunch of his friends in the celebrity world. Excuse me. It was Jason Reitman, I think, and told them, can you make your own Princess Bride movie with household items? They want to make it look like a fan-made picture, but with celebrities in it. So I don't exactly know. It's going to be on Quibi. They're going to be dividing it up into chapters on Quibi starting June 29th, I believe. And I think different actors are going to be playing like the same roles. So I think one set of actors, I think like married couple Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner, are going to be doing the Forbidden Forest one with the rodent of unusual size or whatever that was, which they're using their corgi for, and they're going to be playing the roles of Wesley and the princess. So they filmed that. Then there's going to be a black actor is also doing the role of Wesley. Jack Black is playing a role in one as well. Hugh Jackman is playing Humperdinck in one of his own things, but they're all like homemade stuff. So like with Hugh Jackman's, he's wearing like a calendar on his head because he's filming it in his home or in the neighborhood around his home. So it could be interesting. It's not a technical remake of The Princess Bride. It's just a bunch of actors who are bored at quarantine deciding to have a little bit of fun. So why not do that? New $70 million science fiction movie called B will star a real-life AI robot named Erica. So instead of it being an actor, it'll be the main character of Erica will be played by an artificial intelligence robot named Erica. I guess they're going to program the script into her memory bank and have her do all that stuff. So we'll see how that could be interesting, I guess. Man's trail cam captures a UFO going through the forest. Again, who knows with these videos, if some could be fake or not, but this is actual camtrail. He's a guy who owns a lot of acreage, a lot of woods in the background, and puts up the cam, the cameras, camtrail cameras, videos. And there's one of a bright UFO coming in and beaming light down into the forest. So who knows what's going on with that. So that's interesting evidence if true. In 2018, a letter to the FBI was delivered, allegedly from one of the three men who claimed to have escaped Alcatraz. They escaped Alcatraz through a whole bunch of different means by digging through a vent system, raft out of clothes, and creating paper mache dummy heads to make it look like that they were in their beds when the officers came to check on them for bed check. They apparently shimmied down the vents and were able to get onto the island with their raft and were able to make the dangerous crossing across San Francisco Bay, because the reason why Alcatraz was impossible to get there is for a couple of reasons. One, it's in the middle of San Francisco Bay. The nearest land on all sides is really, really far away. The water is always cold, and the current is very, very strong. So a lot of people who've tried have drowned. This case, these guys allegedly made it. Now, the reason why is, why 2018 does this guy all of a sudden send a letter to the FBI? Well, the reason why is because in the letter, the writer declares himself one of the, I forget the guy, the one's name says, I am blah, blah, blah. I am one of the three that escaped from Alcatraz in 1962 or something like that. The reason why I am writing to you now is because I am willing to turn myself in if I can be guaranteed just 1 year in prison, because he has cancer and he can't afford the cancer treatment. So he figures if he gets arrested, stays in jail for a year, he'll get the free cancer treatment via the jail, because that's how jail works. No, I'm being serious, not being snarky. So it seems plausible. He said, if you agree to this, I will give you my address. So you come pick me up and send me to jail and take care of my cancer. So either it's a real guy and it's the only way he's at his wit's end, doesn't know what else to do, how to take care of his cancer, or somebody who has cancer who knows enough about the story to allegedly be this person and wants just free cancer treatments, even though they did not commit any crime. They feel they can survive in jail. Being about 90 years old, it shouldn't be an issue. So makes sense. We'll see what happens. Some deaths this week. The big one this week is director Joel Schumacher, died at the age of 80. Joel Schumacher has the notoriety of being the director basically that destroyed Batman. He directed Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. While Batman Forever is not entirely terrible, it has its really terrible moments, including the miscasting of Jim Carrey as the Riddler, and the candy-colored bright, shiny, nipple-y bat suits that he decided to do, and turn the Batman series from the dark and disturbing Tim Burton vision to back to what it was kind of like in the TV series, because apparently that's what Joel Schumacher grew up on, and that's what he felt Batman was instead of this dark knight. But that being said, he's also one of the best directors out there who's done a number of films, including St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, Falling Down, Phone Booth. I think he did the Client and A View to Kill, or Time to Kill. Excuse me, Time to Kill. Both John Grisham adaptations. The Client's a really, really good one. So he did that. He's done a whole bunch of movies. Let me see if I can dig up his filmography here. So I'm sure you've seen one of his films before, not necessarily the Batman ones, but Batman Robin, Batman Forever, Lost Boys, Falling Down, St. Elmo's Fire, Time to Kill, Phone Booth, Flatliners, The Client, Tigerland, Phantom of the Opera, 8mm, Number 23, Flawless, Trespass, Veronica Guerin, Dying Young, Incredible Shrinking Woman, Bad Company, 12, Blood Creek, DC Cab, Cousins, The Wiz, Car Wash, Sparkle, Gossip. Those are the big ones. So there's a lot, as I said, a lot of those big ones up at the top. So he's known for more than the Batman ones. So it's the film industry has lost a good director, and we'll sad to see him go. Also, in the comic world, inker Joe Sinnott died at the age of 93. He was all over the place in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Inkers are the type that sort of disappear if they do their job right. They're supposed to help make the excuse me, the penciler's work look a lot better than it is. So Joe Sinnott was one of the best, and he passed away at the age of 93. Jacqueline Carrich, as entrepreneur, publicist, publicist, died at the age of 43 of cancer. Kelly Asbury, director of Shrek 2 and Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, died this week as well. Those are both animated films, obviously, from DreamWorks. And Kangaroo Inc. writer Stephen Bing died of suicide as well this week. And I think that's all the major deaths this week. So a lot of death here. Death is going to keep coming, but unfortunately, that's just the way things are. But may they all rest in peace, and hopefully things will get better for them in the afterlife. Praying mantis kills and eats the murder hornet. Everybody sort of forgot about the murder hornets, but they're still there. They're hanging out in the Pacific Northwest right now. They haven't advanced from there in a while. What is this? Yes, I don't need to see that. That was some weird thing as well. I don't know. So they're still around, so don't worry about that. But praying mantises are taking care of themselves. A massive huntsman spider devours a possum at a ski lodge in front of a bunch of witnesses. That'd be even more creepy than praying mantis gorging on a murder hornet. A whole possum was destroyed by a huntsman spider, which aren't any really bigger than a tarantula, and in front of people who watched it as well. So at a ski lodge. So crazy, man, crazy. And in front of people who watched it as well. So at a ski lodge. So crazy, man, crazy. Long lost George Romero film Amusement Park will be released. I guess they discovered it's a horror film. Don't know if it has zombies in it, because Romero is pretty much a zombie person, but I couldn't tell if it was. But it's a movie I'd never heard of before, and it was, I guess, considered lost, and now it's been found. So it'll be released out in theaters because, hey, drive-ins are still really big right now, and no new movies, as I said, are really going to be coming until August now. So all the ones that are supposed to be out in July had now moved to August. So we've got at least one more month of just old films that we haven't seen in a while. Speaking of which, Jurassic Park is #1 at the box office again for the first time since 1993, due to them being reshown in drive-ins and other movie theaters that may have sneaked in some openings beforehand. So people have been coming. It's #1 movie again this week. So it's interesting. Jurassic Park is worth it. It's an excellent film, and should definitely check it out again on the big screen if you haven't yet. Because, hey, some people, 93 was a long time ago. I was 20 years old, but there might be some who weren't born at that time and are now born and love the movie. So, hey, go see it in the movie theater, drive-in theater, whatever. It'd be worth your time. There is a reboot of the Pirates of the Caribbean. For the longest time, Karen Gillan was supposedly this close to signing on as a new pirate. I think that would have been absolutely brilliant, considering her role in the Doctor Who episode about pirates. She was fantastic in that. Unfortunately, they decided to go with someone who's a bit more of a name, with Margot Robbie, who I still like and enjoy, but we'll see what happens. She has now been cast in the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot as a female Jack Sparrow sort of character, so we'll see how that goes. The reboot button is lingering over the movie Twister, which I think is an absolute disaster, since Twister is perfect as it is, and there's no need to reboot it. If you want to make another movie about tornadoes, you don't have to call it Twister. You don't have to set it in the Twister land. You can do your own tornado story with new characters, and you don't have to be beholden to Twister and call it Twister and stuff like that. You can call it Tornado Alley or Dawn of the Tornadoes or something like that. So, but instead, you're going to try to do a reboot of Twister with the same characters and the same storyline of tornado hunters converging on a massive outbreak of tornadoes. If you want to make a tornado movie, I just said try to be more original. instead of doing a reboot of something that was actually very successful. So we'll see what happens. I guess they want to say, well, we have all this new technology since the early 90s or the late 90s. So, hey, let's see what it will look like, 20 years now with new technology. It's like, as I said, that's fine, but make your own film, You don't have to, jump on the bootstraps of Twister. If they see that it is a tornado movie, people are going to go see it. You don't need to call it Twister. So there's my rant for the day. Japan University awards the first ever ninja studies degree. So we actually have an actual Bachelor of Arts in Ninja style. Sorry, that's a Fortnite thing. Richard Simmons has a doll out from NECA. So it's fabulous. So enjoy your Richard Simmons doll if you want. The last week, what was the band called? A country band changed their name. Lady Antebellum changed it to Lady because of Antebellum's association with slavery. This week's Dixie Chicks have decided they're going to change their name to the Chicks. So good for them. I think that's a great idea for them. You go. Elizabeth Banks has been cast as Miss Frizzle in a live-action version of the Magic School Bus. That's an interesting live-action movie idea to have. But if you make it a kids' film, it's probably gonna make a lot of money. And there we go. I talked about how Texas and Florida have been, and also Arizona have been hit by upticks in the pandemic. North Carolina and Washington State have also declared that masks need to be worn at all times now because of their upticks as well. So that's going to be going on there. Could this pandemic create more R-rated cartoons? I don't quite understand why that would be. I haven't seen any R-rated cartoons yet, but is it because people haven't been able to do live action movies that are R-rated? They decided to hire an animator to make their vision of an R-rated film come to life, and animation is the easiest way to do it during quarantine. Is that the whole point? Possible, I guess. So that should work good on that. It's never too early to talk about one of my favorite holidays, Halloween. And Halloween is synonymous with the Spirit Halloween stores, the ones that pop up in the bodies of old stores that have been shut down or been removed. And they, like the one we had over our Toys R Us up here, since they went bankrupt and they shut down the store near us. Last year was the Spirit Halloween place. So they take over those old decrepit buildings that are just sitting there waiting for tenants to show up. They have declared that they will be opening up to 1,400 stores will be opening despite the fact that COVID-19 is still around. So you'll be able to get your Spirit Halloween gear in time for Halloween. Halloween is going to be lit this year. Being on a Saturday, full moon, day before we turn our clocks back an hour. So you get that extra hour at night. So it's on a Saturday. So can't beat any of that. Halloween is going to be lit this year. So let's make sure that we all go out and have a great time celebrating it. Last week, someone caught the first really, really good picture of the Loch Ness Monster in a long time. Well, this week, someone got a really good picture of the Chupacabra. And all its weird kind of glory as well. So honestly, it looks like a bear or fox with mange, but it's a little bit bigger than that, and the legs are a little bit off kilter to me. But again, who knows with these pictures? That Loch Ness Monster one was really good too. So who knows? Add that to the chemtrail pictures of the UFO, man. We got some good stuff coming up there. What the hell is that? Matrix 4 is back to work in Berlin, so they've started filming their continuing to film their film as well. And The Witcher season 2 has commenced filming as well after the break from COVID-19. So, stuff is slowly starting to get back into getting filmed and stuff. So we will be getting movies, very soon. The House of Representatives voted yesterday to approve statehood for Washington, D.C., the first time ever that a portion of Congress has voted to allow statehood for D.C. Of course, it has to get in both, has to pass in both houses, and it won't pass in the Senate because the Senate is going to sit on it like they've been sitting on everything else because Mitch McConnell should be thrown out of office and in jail, but that's besides the point. So it was fun while it lasted, but the first time ever in history, the House of Representatives has voted for statehood for Washington, D.C. As I said, it's not going to happen because the Senate will not vote for it. But proof is, if we succeed in November and we're able to take control in January as we're supposed to, and the House and the Senate are both under Democratic power, I guarantee you this will be brought up again and it should pass then. So maybe next year we'll see it, but we will not see it this year. My Spy, a movie that's been bounced around as much as New Mutants, has finally been released on direct-to-video. A lot of people want the New Mutants to do that, but New Mutants are one of the films scheduled for August release now as well, so hopefully they're going to stick with that too. But My Spy has finally been released. It's been a while with a whole bunch of different starting dates, and now it's finally out there. Prehistoric Australian gentle giant, which is really a giant-sized wombat, has been identified as a new species. It was a wombat that was the size of a bear that happened in the ancient areas of Australia. There have been signs of it existing, and no one ever knew really what it was. Now we know it was like a wombat type of creature, and it's a new species. So new species discovered in Australia. I mean, it's not now, it's extinct, but it was around time during the dinosaur era. So there we go. The bronies, where men who love My Little Pony and they gather together in conventions and they call themselves bronies and they have talks about My Little Pony and they dress up in their My Little Pony costumes, stuff like that, discovered that Nazis have infiltrated the brony world. I don't know if they're trying to destroy the bronies. They might actually just be brony fans, but the majority, a lot of people have discovered that a lot of the bronies now are very pro that idiot in the White House and pro-Nazism. So they're going to try to take care of themselves, and we'll see what happens. We talked about the giant wombats and discovered, well, there's also been in Indonesia walking sharks have been discovered. Yes, I said walking sharks. Sharks that get out of the water and they walk. So they've been discovered in Indonesia. So yay, I guess. And also I got for my birthday a book about cryptids. Every state has its own sort of cryptid. So one state, I forget what it was, had one called a beaver shark, which to me sounds like a great sci-fi movie. If sci-fi made those movies, they don't anymore. But beaver shark is said to either have the head of a beaver and the body of a shark, or the head of a shark and the body of a beaver. No one really remembers. But beaver shark is a real thing, as are walking sharks. So there you go, 2 new sci-fi B movies. A Tanzanian farmer becomes a millionaire overnight after discovering a massive, two massive chunks of tanzanite that I think were worth $5.4 million. So good on him like that. Okay, I already talked about that. NASA renames a building, one of their buildings, after the agency's first black female engineer. Her story was shown in the movie Hidden Figures, but her name is now on one of the important buildings in NASA. Blumhouse, who's done a good job of making horror films on a low budget and making money off of them, has, as I said a couple weeks ago, will be doing a version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And they took a look at stuff and said, you know what, there's a whole lot of good stuff here. It says, what we, the big boys tried to do a dark universe with the Tom Cruise Mummy movie with Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and they had cast Angelina Jolie as the Bride of Frankenstein. So they had some ideas, and I think they had that Mexican actor, I forget his name, to portray the Invisible Man. That was all set up. But when The Mummy failed, they decided the Dark Universe was dead. But Blumhouse has decided that they want to try to create their version of it with a lower budget and, not as the big actors in it, but try to bring back the Universal monsters as they are supposed to be. So they are doing a Dracula movie. I think their next one that they're scheduled to do is a Wolfman one. I think they bought the rights to that. So I think they're going to try to restart the Dark Universe. So good on them. Go for it. Should be a lot of fun, because that was one of the cool things about those horror movies in the 40s, is that there were crossovers, not in all the films, but in a bunch of them. So, and then of course you had them together in the Monster Squad. So you gotta go with that. And years ago, I think Universal released sets that included all of the Wolfman's movies and all of Dracula's movies and all of Frankenstein's movies and all the Invisible Man's movies and all the Mummy movies, so on and so like that. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. While I was going through Amazon, I accidentally discovered them again. So they are on Amazon. So I think I might pick up a couple of those. They were cheap, so I haven't picked them up yet since we're going on vacation, but should be good to see that. Oh, I did get, for my birthday, I did get my Nintendo Switch. I think I talked about that already in some books, so I'm good on that. Yeah, I did, because I did my show after my birthday. I didn't get my special present from my wife, but either that or for Father's Day. What is this? Oh, Splash Mountain, which has a connotation to the Disney movie Song of the South, which was a hugely racist film, and actually was the first film I remember seeing as a kid at the Rotunda. So because of the big uproar with that stuff, they've decided that they took a look at Splash Mountain, decided they're going to refurbish Splash Mountain and turn it into one of their more, an attraction that's about one of their more recent hits, The Princess and the Frog, which makes a whole lot of sense. The cast is people of color. It takes place in the bayou, so you can have the water and waterfalls and stuff like that, and you just have to change up the set designs and make it be like a fresh new ride. So when they reopen after the pandemic, it could be a really interesting thing to get people excited about going back to it, to a ride that they've been on but haven't been on. I think it's brilliant. Man handled a shark with his bare hands on a Delaware beach, and it was filmed. Yeah, Delaware doesn't get a lot of love with news, but this dude was jacked up, and he was like tackling a shark and was teaching it a lesson for whatever reason. I don't know. I guess a shark did something it wasn't supposed to. The Sahara dust storm has hit the United States. A friend of mine that lives in South Carolina, he didn't believe in the whole thing until he took a picture of the sunset today, and was like, this is kind of an odd look to it. Instead of it being like a reddish blue sky that you're used to with a sunset, pretty clear in the south, this was a dull yellow pea color almost, and that is due to the sand stuff. So I would assume, since it's down there, that the wave should be hitting Maryland probably by the time we're going to be down at the beach in a couple of days. So we'll see what happens. Could be sooner, could be tomorrow. I don't know. Red, white, and blue donuts are available now at Krispy Kreme, because 4th of July, as I said, is on Saturday. So yes, this is the last episode of Dylan Knows in June. It seemed like only yesterday that I did the last episode in May, but this is now the last episode of Dylan Knows in June. Next week, we will be July 4th weekend, and I'll be doing my July 4th episode, and we'll see what's going on with that. It should be interesting. Speaking of 4th, I'm going to bring this up since it's a good segue. We have on Facebook, there is a Reisterstown page where people talk about stuff that's going on in Reisterstown. A lot of people use it for the same old stuff over and over again. They hear like rapid explosions all in a row, and they automatically assume that it's guns, which I find, why do you hate Reisterstown so much? You think Reisterstown is as bad as any other big city? It isn't. It's actually safer than most cities like that. And most of the times, these gunshots that you keep complaining about turn out to be fireworks. There's also the talk about, why is there a helicopter overhead, and what's with all the sirens? Is there a helicopter overhead, and what's with all the sirens, stuff like that. There are people that freak out all the time, and it's the same people, and they're asking the same questions. It's like, dude, it's fire. It could be anything. It could be an accident. What do you think? You think there's a murder or something? Do you really think Reisterstown is as bad a place as, the big city? Are you trying to say, well, look at all this crime stuff, we need to move out of Reisterstown? Do you hate Reisterstown that much that you don't want to live here anymore? And you're making up these things about, gunshots, stuff like that. But I digress. So lately, over the last couple of weeks, and I haven't mentioned it because it hasn't been a big deal, the fireworks seem to have been going off in the neighborhoods over that way. And I haven't heard them. But these people keep saying, what's with the fire? Oh, man, we got the fireworks again. They're freaking out because their dogs don't like the fireworks. And then I guess there's some soldiers who have PTSD. And I get it, but it's just people shooting fireworks off. I mean, I understand. And I understand, they do it every day. It can get annoying. And sometimes they do it late at night. That's not cool. But it's fireworks, they're harmless. And if you're that upset about them, call the police. Let them know where you are. Maybe they'll be able to catch them, because it is illegal to shoot off fireworks in Maryland. Anyway, I thought this was just just a bunch of people, shooting off fireworks because they can. And then I talked to my mom a while back. She said that there have been a lot of fireworks that she's heard around her neighborhood, not necessarily in her neighborhood, but near her neighborhood. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then I started hearing other people on Twitter that aren't in Maryland that I follow saying, what's with all the fireworks? So apparently there was a news story that went out this week that someone says, does it seem like there's more fireworks than normal? And they said, well, that's because there is. So apparently this is more of a countrywide issue. A lot of people believe it has to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not 100% actually sure if it is or not, but regardless, it is something that happened. And then today, I heard my first batch of fireworks. They didn't last too long. There are a couple of booming explosions, and I haven't heard them since. And supposedly there have been some that have been shot off in the middle school grounds, which is literally over there. And I haven't heard, over there, somewhere in between there. I haven't heard those, but I saw the remnants of it. I think I'm going to post that on Instagram because I do have a picture of the remnants of it. So apparently people are shooting it off. It's a good spot to do it. And it's where they usually do their 4th of July fireworks, because you'll go there the next day and there's all these exploded fireworks in the grounds, which is disgusting. Throw your shit away. Don't just leave it out for anybody else to clean up after you. But it is a ongoing thing, and I don't know how long it's going to last. It's going to get worse this week, obviously. Since 4th of July is 1 week from today, so you'll be getting all the fireworks pretty much every day this week, with there being even bigger on Saturday. So, and I remember doing a couple of shows on 4th of July, so it won't be a first doing one on the 4th of July, where I actually was doing it, and you could hear the fireworks in the background while I was doing my show. So we'll see about that. There are people out there who made up a fake government agency and laminated on a car and stuff like that says that this agency tells them that they do not have to comply with the rules about wearing masks because they're inconvenient for some people, and these people are total assholes. But these people are trying to get out of having to wear masks. They've created a official sounding government site with a phone number and everything. A card says the reason why I'm not wearing a mask is because of this. And you can call them and say all stuff. It's like, okay, I should call them and see what happens. It's not real. So if someone gives you a card saying this government agency that says I do not have to wear a mask, tell them, no, get out if you're not wearing a mask. Assholes. I'm going camping, as I said. My wife just bought a new giant tent for all of us. It has a little screened-in porch. But Cabela's, which I guess is a company that makes tents, has created a new one which they are calling the Tent Mansion, which is bigger than some apartments. So there, if you want to live in a lap of luxury, you can get the tent mansion and put that up. Probably take forever to put up, but hey, you get to live in luxury when you're outside. A woman whose dog passed away. She's upset. She's mourning the dog. Went outside a few days later, and looked up to the clouds, and she got a camera and took a picture of the clouds. And when she took the picture, she compared to the picture of her dog, and it looks like the clouds formed the face of her dog that passed away in the clouds, as if he's looking down on her. I thought it was a nice story, and it really does look like it's the dog in the picture. So I think that's a neat little story to see about that. Last week, I talked about some of the comic book people behaving badly. There's a new one now. Scott Alley, who was an editor for Dark Horse, has been charged with sexual harassment and sexual assault. So Dark Horse decided they will cut ties with him, and Mike Mignola, who used him as his primary editor on Hellboy, has cut ties with him as well. Just saw that the White House has made a declaration 24 hours after the damning stuff about how that idiot in the White House learned in like March that Putin, his bitch, who's been his boss, I should say, not his bitch. Idiot is his bitch, has been paying the Taliban, which are the people, remember, who attacked the two towers and destroyed them in 9/11, to kill American soldiers. And the FBI and all that, told that idiot in the White House in March, and he didn't say anything, do anything, and then went a month or so later and asked that Russia should be put back into the government body that they have working on it. So this president, this asshole, does not care if American soldiers get killed by his boss. So that's a damning thing, and it's been going through a cycle for 24 hours, and then it looks like apparently they have finally made a response to it. So I'm not really going to look into that. So, yep. So we'll see what happens. Dennis Nedry, who was played by Wayne Knight from Seinfeld. He was one of the bad guys in Jurassic Park. The #1 movie this week, by the way, is going to be getting his own action figure. And you can get it in a Barbasol can that unscrews and reveals the action figure. Because remember, the Barbasol can had had a fake inside, so you can put all the dinosaur embryos in there and sell it to another science group that would create dinosaurs of their own. Now, the character that he meets with in the beginning of Jurassic Park, Dodgson, is now been cast in the final Jurassic World movie, and the character will be played by Campbell Scott from Singles, and also was Richard Parker in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man stuff. So that'll be interesting. So a lot of Jurassic Park stuff came out this week, so that's interesting. It's so hot in the Grand Canyon that your shoes could melt. That's the news this week. Apparently, because of the way the canyon is situated, it could be like 90 degrees up above, but then the downward sloping of it causes the heat to continue to permeate, and it gets to be like 120 degrees down at the bottom. So if you go to the bottom, your shoes will melt because of over 120 degrees there. A third Mamma Mia film will be coming. I did not know a second one was needed, since the play that the first movie is based on has only one play. So I guess there's more ABBA music you can use, I suppose. I didn't think the sequel did that well, but apparently it did. Scientists just sampled the most pristine air on Earth, which is in, of all places, Antarctica. Makes sense. So it's the best air in the world right now. The Transformers anime will be coming in late July to Netflix. So Netflix keeps building stuff up. Speaking of Netflix, Cobra Kai, the further adventures of Johnny and Danny from the Karate Kid. The first 2 seasons were on YouTube. The 3rd season has been officially announced on Netflix. So Netflix will be taking control of the Cobra Kai TV show. From what I've been reading of the descriptions, it's a really good show. It's gotten a lot of critical acclaim. I'd like to check it out eventually. So maybe I will now that it's going to be on Netflix. So that'll be pretty cool. See that. They need to now bring in Elizabeth Shue, who played the original girlfriend of the 2 of them in the first Karate Kid movie, to show up in this 3rd one, which they were sort of, I think, hinting at the end of the 2nd season. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the hilarious cop show, which I've been dying to watch. I've read all the episode descriptions and I want to read. I watched videos of it. I'm trying to get my wife, because I think she's been interested in it as well. We just haven't found time to sit down and watch it. Their new season was supposed to start soon. They had scripts for 8 episodes. And then they just scrap them after the whole Black Lives Matter parade thing, police corruption, stuff like that. So they're going to have to start from scratch to more reflect what is going on in the present world. So stay tuned with that. It's going to delay things probably for a little bit. Also, speaking of Netflix, on July 3rd, you'll be able to get a brand new Babysitters Club TV series. My daughter read the new animated or the comic graphic novels of the Babysitters Club, and she enjoyed them. But now there's going to be a reboot of the show on Netflix, so I think that's a great idea. So that's good about that. New York Marathon, which was scheduled to be rerun in October, has now been canceled for the year. So there will be no New York City Marathon this year. It's a shame, but again, you got to be safe. It's a weird year. As I said, most sports are either getting canceled or are going to have, limited schedules, stuff like that. So, why not just continue with it and just have it hit all stuff like that. Raccoons crash wedding photos. There have been stories about deers that have crashed outdoor wedding photos. This one is a group of raccoons crashed a series of wedding photos that were filmed out in the woods. A bidet company is willing to pay someone $10,000 to study their shitting habits for 3 months. So if you want to talk about your shit for 3 months, with a bidet company, you could get $10,000. So, hey, I'd do it. Sure, why not? The Firefly jar is now a new weapon in Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite, as I said. But now they've introduced the Firefly jar where you can collect fireflies like you do during the summer. And you can throw it at people and it catches them on fire, gives them 40 damage. And Christopher Nolan's Inception aired in Fortnite last night. So it was one of the first movies to actually air in the video game, and it's going to open doors for other companies to do the same as well. So that's to be continued. A diver convinces an octopus to trade his plastic cup for a seashell. Basically, the guy saw this little baby octopus walking around with a dirty, ugly plastic cup that was sitting on there, and he tried to get him out of that since that's not healthy and put it into a real shell, and it actually worked, so good on that. Poetry with Neanderthals. Okay. Exploding Kittens Company is one of the best gaming companies out there. We've got the Bears versus Babies. We've got Throw Burrito. We've got the actual Exploding Kittens series. And now we have Poetry for Neanderthals, which is a new game that they released with Neanderthals, which they released this week. Basically, it's kind of like, not really charades, but basically someone is given a word like campfire, and they have to try to get the other players to figure out what the word is. He can't come out and say it's campfire, can't say camp, can't say fire, but he has to describe the word, and they have to figure out what it is from one syllable words. So it's like warm, branches, cook, white cube things, like marshmallows. and try to get people to say campfire. You can only use the said one-syllable words. If you use 2 syllables or more words, or you say the word that you're trying to get them to say, you will be batted over the head with an inflatable baseball bat, which, the club, rather, how Neanderthals are shown to be carrying clubs. There's inflatable clubs, so you'll be smacked over the head with the club and you'll lose points. So it looks kind of fun. I decided I may as well buy it for our trip. So we bought that along with the extreme edition of Throw Burrito, which is an outdoor edition with giant size cards and inflatable giant life size burritos you can throw at each other outside. And Exploding Kittens also released their new expansion set called Barnes. I bought that as well. So some new cards added into that. It's not taking really long to play Exploding Kittens, where you take about 10 minutes. It takes longer now because we have 3 expansions worth of cards inside. So it's interesting. The Haunted Drive-In is coming to Japan. Basically, it's an interactive drive-in where, you can go to a drive-in and you can watch a scary movie, but then characters from the movie can come out and start attacking your car while you're watching it. It's almost like a 3D, 4D sort of effect thing going on. I think that's a really neat idea. I already said that. Baseball place in. Opening date, July 24th. The Pokemon Go Battle League is back. I think a couple weeks ago I talked about how someone had hacked it and they were trying to fix it. Well, it's been a couple weeks that they fixed it. You can go back in now. There have been some new stuff added that will cause it to not happen again, and some other changes to Go League. Also, the bug event is going on this week, and then at the beginning of next weekend will be the beginning of the Pokemon Go Fest weekend, which will culminate in the 25th and 26th of July's Pokemon Go Fest at home, which is exciting. I've already got tickets, and so get lots of really good shinies and regionals and new characters and stuff, like characters we're needing to finish our decks and stuff like that. So that'll be coming up. And then leading up to it for the next 3 weeks, there'll be events that you have to complete. And if you complete them, it'll unlock a Pokemon at Pokemon Go Fest. So that'll be good as well. So they're going all about. Austin, Texas is about to become the 10th largest city in the United States. Good on you, Austin. You've grown from nothing to huge. We're talking about Pokemon. Pokemon Unite has been announced. It's a battle game. So that's really all about it. It didn't seem all that interesting to me, but it is a new game you can get now as well. The Little Rascal star Bug Hall has been arrested after inhaling air dusters, which are illegal. It's a way to get high quickly. Ron Jeremy, the porn star, has been charged with rape and sexual assault against 4 women, so he's been arrested for that. David Lynch is proud of every film he made except for one, and that was his adaptation of Dune. He's not exactly sure why it didn't click for him, but I don't remember much about it. When I watched it, I was with my girlfriend, and we were making out mostly and groping each other on the chair while other friends were watching it when they were high out of their minds. So I watched a little bit of it, but I was too busy focused on something else. Chicken Run 2 will be coming to Netflix, minus Mel Gibson, who got into a little trouble this week. Mel Gibson is in the news after recent discussions with Winona Ryder arose from a few years ago, where he talked about racist stuff, and Winona Ryder remembered that and said he was a stupid racist, which we already knew anyway, but this is just more proof of it. Speaking of Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves refused to scream insults at her on a set of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which the two of them worked together, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Again, kind of interesting that I added that because the same girlfriend I groped, it was a communal grope. We were groping each other and making out and stuff like that. During Dune was the same one that we were groping each other and making out of during the Bram Stoker's Dracula. So Francis Ford Coppola wanted Winona Ryder to cry, wasn't convinced of her crying ability, so was telling Keanu Reeves to hurl insults at her till she cried. And Keanu was like, "I'm not going to do that, dude. F you, man. Figure out another way to do it. You're supposed to direct." So that's more proof that Keanu is a good guy. The TV show Lucifer has been renewed for a 6th season again on Netflix. 5th season hasn't come out yet. I think the 4th season came out on Netflix, was very, very good. 5th season was announced, and the 5th season is going to be coming out really soon. And now a 6th season has been announced, so good on that. Baby owls sleep face down. The owls are not what they seem, but they do. Baby owls do sleep face down, which is kind of interesting. Scientists make bigger monkey brains with the help of human genes. So monkeys are a lot smarter now. And considering one of the stories that I'm about to tell you right now, a monkey has been photographed flying a remote controlled drone. So now we've got monkeys who can fly remote controlled drones, now can attach a bomb to it, fly it over us and destroy us and take over as our monkey high lords. So we'll see what happens with that. A little bit of history. A massive volcano eruption in Alaska may have destroyed the Roman Republic. When the Roman Empire fell, it was during a year with famine and cold weather and climate change and just all kinds of bad stuff. And a lot of people believe that a massive volcano eruption in Alaska spewed its dust and smoke up into the air, and it made its way towards Rome and stuff like that, and caused these issues to happen. And it actually makes a whole lot of sense about why that would happen. So good on that. The lost colony of Hatteras Island. I'm sorry, lost colony and Hatteras Island writer of Hatteras Island and Hatteras Island writer believes that he has discovered what happened to Roanoke. For those who don't know, Roanoke was one of the first settlements in the United States. And so it was settled, and then a bunch of people left to go back to England to get supplies, and they came back 3 years later. When they came back 3 years later, the entire Roanoke had disappeared. Nobody was around. All the houses abandoned. No sign of struggles, death, blood, murder, anything like that. And only the word Croatan was carved onto a fence post. Now, for the longest time, people weren't quite sure what it was. They had their own conspiracy theories. Croatans were the names of the Indians that were down in the North Carolina region. It was also the name of what turns out to be Hatteras Island. But for some reason, the people who are trying to find out what happened to the lost colony of Hatteras never went to Hatteras Island. They were instead thinking that, Indians, they made their way with the Indians and joined with them and became part of the tribes. They disappeared. Some said some went to other locations further up the East Coast because of the way famine was, or water, or the land was bad, or whatever. So they decided to go where it was more successful up north. But now this reporter slash archaeologist had been doing some digging on Hatteras Island, which again Croatan was known, which is what Hatteras Island was known as in the old days, and has discovered a whole trove of stuff that shouldn't be there. A lot of people thought the Indians lived there, but then there was stuff that appeared that it looked like that the settlers moved inward to the Hatteras Island, or moved outward, I should say, to Hatteras Island to live their life. And the fact that the Hatteras people didn't even check Hatteras Island either when they arrived or thought anything like that, it's kind of weird. And today that they didn't check it, but it makes a lot of sense. And some people say also that the entire Roanoke community might not have gone to Hatteras Island. Actually, some of them might have actually gone to the upper north ones like Maryland and stuff like that. So we'll see. So it's a book about that. I'm going to see if it's available on Amazon. I'm going to try to pick it up, maybe read it, and see if it's any good. Finally, we got about probably another 10 minutes here, maybe less. 500 Delta employees have been tested positive for COVID-19. That's not good. Rainbow Rave LED light up gloves is a new thing. You can wear gloves that light up with LEDs and are rainbow colored, so you can be fabulous while you're doing work. Large structures have been discovered in the clouds. Photographs of the clouds of weird structures flying through clouds. There have been video of somebody walking on the clouds as well. So who knows what's going on with that. But this new picture show weird like cars or something driving on the cloud falling through. So go figure. Scientists have also discovered mysterious structures near the Earth's core using bat-like echolocation, but it's not what you think. It's not a proof of a inner world like a lot of people believe is inside our Earth right now. No, this is more along the lines of it's giant columns of dense hot rock. They don't know what kind of stuff it's made out of, but they are strange structures that have never been photographed before, and they did not know they were there until they used this echolocation stuff. So that's kind of interesting. NASA's clearest picture of Earth is now a jigsaw puzzle. So if you want to get your jigsaw puzzle loving friend a interesting and hard puzzle, get them the round Earth puzzle. It all looks the same, blues and whites. An egg discovered in Antarctica is very big and may be from an extinct sea lizard. They won't know it was discovered, so it's bigger than a penguin egg, and there's really not any other creatures that live on Antarctica that would lay eggs anyway, so we'll see what happens. Dad builds stage for his daughter. I'm sorry, not his daughter. Builds a stage in his driveway for his graduate. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but because of the way graduations were this year, he decided to give his child a real graduation, so he built a stage in the driveway so he could graduate in style. Last week I talked about how Dl Hughley collapsed during a show. Well, we discovered that he had COVID-19. That's what caused his collapse during the show. Tom Petty the Tom Petty family is suing that asshole in the White House for using his music without permission. Hopefully they'll win. September 18th, The Kingsman, the prequel to the Kingsman series of movies, will come out. The new trailer dropped this week rather. So check that out if you want to. USC. Oh, I forgot to put this as death because this was a death. The USC standout offensive lineman Max Turek died at the age of 26. He collapsed while hiking with his parents. SpongeBob movie, the computer-generated SpongeBob movie, will be going direct to video. The success of Trolls shows anything that's a good choice in that end. Cinemark movie theater will be offering reduced prices and optional masks when they open up, so you don't have to wear masks if you don't want to. If you're one of these people that is like, I'm not going to wear a mask, you can go to Cinemark and they'll be like, yeah, it's fine, go ahead. And they're going to be showing reduced prices, to draw people into the movie theater, plus the fact that there's going to be no new movies until early August anyway, so I'll try to get people in the movie theaters. The Arctic, I was talking about the Antarctic. Well, the regular Arctic reached the highest temperature they ever had this week at 100 degrees, which is unheard of in the Arctic. It never reaches that. It's the highest temperature they've ever had in history. So there we are. Why the Last Man, the American Horror Story spinoff, will not be officially on FX. They'll be moving to FX on Hulu. So people will to convince people to get Hulu and give it an incentive that you can see stuff on the FX channel on Hulu that you won't be able to see on regular FX. So you have to get the FX on. You have to get Hulu in order to get these shows, which is a shame because I really wanted to see Why the Last Man. Colin Trevorrow, who directed the original Jurassic World, was supposed to direct the last Star Wars movie, but backed out at the last minute. Will be doing an Atlantis movie, not the one based on the Disney movie, but a completely different one that could be an interesting film to look at. Alpha Flight, the Canadian superhero team, is rumored to be coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is great. The costumes are great. The characters are great. I would love to see an Alpha Flight movie, actually, not like an Avengers versus Alpha Flight, just an Alpha Flight movie in general. It might be a good way to introduce Wolverine as well. Hellstorm also is a series planned for Hulu as well. Will be coming out in October. It's one of the few Marvel shows on Hulu that has survived. The other ones pretty much have been discarded except for MODOK. So we have this one as well. Someone photographed a real alligator on an alligator pool floaty, and it's adorable. The Firecracker Drink, just in time for 4th of July from Starbucks, is on their secret menu. So if you want it, you're going to have to order this, a dragon fruit lemonade refresher with no dragon fruit pieces in it. No dragon fruit pieces in it. And then you pump in a bit of raspberry syrup. You shake it all up with some ice and then top it off with passion tea, and you get your firecracker drink. And the final story for this week: a man drives solo across the United States in 25 hours and 55 minutes in a rental Mustang. So he went from the East Coast to the West Coast in a little over a day. Technically, you want to say round up to 26 hours. So a full 24 hours plus 2 hours after that. So 26 hours to cross from the East Coast to the West Coast. If you don't stop, except for gas and food, and maybe not to sleep, whatever, that kind of makes sense. You normally, if you take your time, it'll take you 72 to 96 hours, 3 to 4 days to cross the United States. But this guy, I guess, didn't stop and must have gone really fast. He did it in a little bit over a day. But no, obviously, if you don't stop, except for gas and food, that makes sense. And bathroom breaks, stuff like that. So good on that. And that is the end of June 2020's Still in No series. Come join us next Saturday. I will be back from vacation. We'll talk about that. Talk about 4th of July, because we'll be doing it on 4th of July. And we'll see what else what other trouble we can get into this week. So thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your week, and have a good rest of your June. Again, as I said, I will be out of the office for the next week on vacation. So see you back here on Saturday, July 4th, to enjoy the celebration of America's independence, as well as, talk about my vacation and some other cool stuff going on. So cheers, y'all, and have a great day. Bye. I hope I feel better, right?